Hey guys, this is my morning brief video. Based on our counts and everything and what's happening at the fair value gaps, I'm thinking that we may have finally bottomed here on our 10-year treasuries. So heads up on that. Yield should be coming down here. So let's see, they might just stall out here for into the election and then start stabilizing a little bit. So let's see what happens here. I, for one, don't believe that Trump's going to win the election. Um, don't get me wrong, I am a Republican, but I do think the markets have it wrong. So we'll see what happens with how things work out. And so one of my top trades that I'm looking at is possibly shorting Donald Trump media. So we'll see what happens, and we'll go from there. Okay. Uh, things happening this morning. Top volume, Donald Trump media. Yeah, AMD. AMD is actually doing what I thought it would do. It's following the course of ASML. So AMD is getting rejected. So we're rejecting the September trend entirely. So this is our September trend on uh, AMD. Came up to it, rejecting it. We're back down to the August trend lows. So heads up on that into a fair value gap. So be very mindful. We're at major support here on AMD and a fair value gap. So we'll see what happens, see if they can support it or not. But so AMD got spanked this morning. Now on the flip side, Google, I had warned people about Google trying to be short Google because you don't generally short ad companies into a national presidential election because there's massive campaign financing that's going directly to the ad based companies. Okay, so what we're seeing this morning, massive gamma squeeze. The top open interest for this week is 180, and the monthly is actually the top open interest. So we're in a positive gamma squeeze uh, for all the top open interests on Google. Likely early on this morning to tag my trend line, I would think that would put us up to 185. So we'll see if it does it or not. Uh, there was a decent sized short float on that. So I don't know if the shorts have all covered or not. You would think that there's a possibility that the shorts still need to cover more before the at the open here. So be very mindful of that. There was a decent short. Uh, all the bad negative publicity in Google, which didn't make it much sense to me, knowing that it was an election quarter. So heads up on that. Other things that are happening. Lilly just got spanked. It's really one of the first stocks to blow up on earnings this quarter. Absolutely blew up. We are well below the uh, August. If you're going to daily here, this I've been banking everything against the August. This is our August anchored view up. Okay, so we were back testing into the earnings, and they just decimated the August anchored view. So that's off the August lows. We have utterly blown up the August lows for Lilly. Absolutely blown it up. So we're way down here near the August anchored view app, uh, uh, where it started in August, off the lows. So we're right down here near that this morning, just utterly obliterated. And that kind of sucks because Lily's based out of Indianapolis, and I live here in Indiana, so I don't like seeing stuff like that. Okay, trends that I'm actually looking for this morning. So I went through the top things that are happening this morning. Amazon. So after what happened with Google here, I would think that shorts would be running for the hills this morning. Anything in Megatech that's short, yeah, I would be nervous as possibly getting squeezed this morning for any of these that have been digesting for a while. So one of these things I'm looking at, one theme that I'm looking at this morning that we do have open interest. The massive open interest for this week is 200 on Amazon. If you go down to the 4 hour again, find it here at 200. Here we go, guys. So we have a fair value gap right above us here. That would take us all the way up to 196.80. And we have a big open interest at the 200 mark. So we could very easily, given what's going on with Google, I could say they may, before the week's out, run us all the way into the 200s. So be very mindful of that. Uh, Good thing about it is you see this trend right here. That's the anchored VWAP uh, trend breakdown. So that would be our primary resistance right now. We're not above it. Extend to the right. So I would be looking. I personally wouldn't want to be pushing above this fair value gap. I wouldn't be buying no 200 calls or 199, 198. I would be trying to get my calls, you know, uh, somewhere in this area down here if I was pushing it to the upside. But there's a really good chance we're going to go right into that uh, trend line that puts us 196.60 here on Amazon. Okay, guys. Okay, other things that I'm seeing this morning. Well, Meta's top the list here. So Meta, it's an ad company. We had a blowout quarter. Okay, guys. We are above the fair value gap this morning. So this is a very bullish situation on that. Let me see here where the so we had a call wall at 590 and we've blown through that. Let me check my thing. So on our weekly here, 610 and 620 are still very valid target areas. You know, given the news we just got from Googl. So I would target between 610 and 620 today. And if you go on your monthly, you see what the open interest is. 620 is your target on the monthly. So I would really be leaning towards 620 as a gravity weld, what we're going to be seeing on Meta. So, and that 620 puts us up here. So that actually might be understating where it can go, to be honest. See, our trend's way up here. That's 630. So this has the potential of going into a positive gamma squeeze. That's another one. That 620 area, we could be potentially breaking above that, going into that, or breaking above that. So be very mindful because our trend, we're not into the trend. So be very mindful of that. I would not short Meta. Another one I'm looking at here is Googl as possible. It's another one that has been digesting for some time now. The shorts might just want to go to the sidelines this morning. We're into a fair value gap this morning. Our trend does suggest that we could be coming back up here on earnings up to 454 potentially here on earnings. So be very mindful of that. So bottom line is we've got to get over this high 442.84 before we're starting to see a breakout of the fair value gap. So be very mindful of that. Let me double check I can't remember if I updated these this week or not. Let me double check. So bottom line is, guys, there is a massive call wall at 450. A massive call wall at 450. So we'll see what happens here. Just like I said, given what happened to Googl here, I could definitely see what they're going to do here is trying to push these other megatechs into those call walls. So 450 is a big one, is a big, massive call wall. That's a monthly. So let me change this, edit. I think those are from last month. I didn't update my chart yet. So I would definitely not want to short right here. I'd wait, but I can definitely see them. A lot of times you'll see in the markets, people are just waiting to see how the earnings are starting to come out initially, and then they'll push everything up into those call walls and stuff the latter part of the earnings cycle, and it's already priced in, and then we get the sell off on the earnings, and that's exactly the way I think things are going right here. That they may start pushing these earning prices up into the earnings, and then you get far less positive reaction from any type of earnings release. So be very mindful of that. So on the broader markets, this is our current anchored VWAP for the week. We are initially opening a little bit below it at 8:26 in the morning here. So be very mindful of that. Currently, This is our anchored view app wall. Generally speaking, I wouldn't want to be going long unless we started going back above this 58.76 on ESs. So we're slightly on the bearish side of the anchored view up wall for the week. So, be very mindful of that. In Qs, on the other hand, we're on the bullish side. So we're a back test of the 2626. I would be a buyer. 2626. I would be looking to be a buyer to the long side of the NQs. We'll see what happens and go from there. Maybe we come down to it, maybe we don't. Typically, they do like coming back down and back testing these things, so be very mindful of that. So I would look for an initial drawdown, maybe to the 626 area for a potential buy. Now, this is a fair value gap area here on NQ, so volume should be light early on this morning. So we have to be mindful of that here on the NQs. Being in the fair value gap, a lot of people sit to the sidelines until we finally get the actual breakout. So I would be looking for a little bit of light volume this morning on the NQs. And so final things here, the Russell. So we do have opposing forces going on here. So this was off of this candle right here by the dip. Okay, fair value gap. This should have been support that failed. Okay, now this is acting as resistance. Okay, we're currently trading slightly below this week's anchored VWAP as well. So we're currently into a resistance area for the Russell. So be very mindful of that on the Russell. And the last, some other things I want to talk about. Caterpillar. Caterpillar got hit this morning, so heads up on that. It came down to the fair value gap area, overlooked it early on this morning, and we're trying to defend it so far. Really light on guidance, really light on the numbers, and then that feeds into XLI. XLI is in a potential fair value gap area even this morning. Your industrials, so that's one of your major industrials. So we're not really actually breaking down on the industrials. They're trying to defend Caterpillar early on this morning. Let me just look on a bigger time frame. Caterpillar though. See, Caterpillar, we're in a topping area, so be very mindful of that. Coming down to 177 this morning. We're back testing this prior high on a bad. I would only be short on this one. I'm sorry. I mean, that's really the only thing that I could even suggest on that one. I would only be short on that scenario. We're way away from this 200 on a bad earnings report. So be very mindful of that. This actually looks like a pretty good short in my opinion. So heads up on that. Hey guys, finish off here. You can follow me on Gumby9662C on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Please retweet me if you get a chance. Like my video, please, below on the YouTube channel, and please leave some comments if you're seeing some stuff that I'm not seeing. And we'll go from there. Oh, I did have a request on one of these stocks. Give me 1 second here. Okay, we had Snap report last night. That's another one of your social media sites. But I don't know, Snap does a lot of ad stuff. They don't really capitalize on the ad side. But yeah, they did have some decent earnings. So let's keep an eye on this. So we're currently above this week's call wall, 1150. So you're in a weekly call squeeze, but we're below the monthly. So ideally, what I like to see if I'm looking for a gamma squeeze continuation, I like to see gapping above the monthly. That's what we got going on Googl. We got breaking above the monthly call wall on Googl. So and we're into a fair value gap area on the 4 hour. So heads up on that. So things here say it's just not that rosy on this one for a continuation. So I'm not saying that's not going to happen. It's just not the setup that I would be looking to go long right here. So heads up on that. Okay, that's everything I got to say. I will see you next chance I get to do a video.